Guys, good morning. So I want to show us how you can achieve the style on display. Having seen the design, I need to tell us the procedures or the measurements you can use to achieve the design. Now, the main block is a regular cutting, and then it has a shoulder zip, which is normal, and the concentration will be on the embellishments, the adjustments, and the center design, and the one beneath, right? So let me show us the measurements you can use to attach or to arrive at all these things. So now, as you can see, I have already cut out all these components. So let me explain to you how these things were cut. So now, the first thing I did here was to cut out this yellow material. Now, I decided not to put it as a strand. I made sure it's a full block at the back. So the measurements I used, the measurement I have here, I cut at 9 because I use 1 inch to fold, right? To make it 9, width of 9, and then length of 18. I used 1 to fold here. So when I fold 1 inch, it becomes 8 by 16 and a half, or 8 by 17 rather. So now the Ankara, the vintage material or the shell material embellishment is 1 inch shorter than the real gold. So I also cut it in same width, but folded this one to be 2 inches and down to be 2 inches, so that I can have 1 inch shorter right here. I can have 1 inch coming out at the edge. Then I use hemming gum to hem this. I use hemming gum under. I hem so that to avoid air to be here. The same thing I did here. Now the measurements for this one, I use measurement of the gold. I used 15.5 in length by width of 10 as well. So I folded 1 inch on both ends, on these ends, and then this one as well was folded by 2 inches to make sure you have 1 inch coming out in this form. You also use hemming gum to hold. Now this was cut in this form for the 2 piece. Now the bias, the normal bias we already know, 2 inches, and they fold both ends and then you fold. That for the neck piping. Then for the center design, I cut the strand by 1.5. I folded with both ends to meet at the center. I will have 0.7 left. 0.7 left. I had 0.7 left. This is 0.7 left, right? 0.7. That's 3/4 left. Then the length is sorry your choice, but I used length of 11 length. The same thing applied here, 11. Then I got a buckle, right? Then inserted it under this way. Then I will sew from here all through. While sewing, I will show you how to sew. Then these strands, the same 0.7, in cutting 1.5, in folding 0.7. So you have 0.7 left. Then the length I have here is a length of 7.5. I had it to 7.5 into 2, right? And then I have 6 inches for the smaller one. So this will be placed as I will show you now. This will be placed here. This will be placed here, and then this will be placed here. This will be placed here. I will show you how to do this while sewing, right? And then this will go across this way, right? And then the longer version of the material will come in this form. Then why this will come here, right? Then after you must have positioned them the way you want it to be, then you are meant to sew. You are sewing all through at this whole dimensions. It go to the end of the 4 inches folding. Then you sew all through. After sewing, you now trim your armhole to make sure this laps properly. After sewing, you now cut off the armhole circumference, right? So that you'll be very sure, and then slant it outrightly. So make sure yours is surpassing the shoulder and the armhole area, so that it will not fall short. You trim it off later on. That's for the side applications. So I hope this will help us to achieve the design and more. So you take your time to make sure all these are positioned properly and then sewn properly. You might need to cut off the excesses under to make it not to be too thick in sewing time. So this is how you can go about achieving the design and similar stuff as well. Thank you for watching. All right, so now for the up design, make sure you go away 1 inch away from the neck before you start fixing this, right? Now, make sure this 1 inch away from the neck will help you to pipe your neck freely without much stress, right? So now we are sewing from here. Make sure it's balanced. Very important. Make sure you push it out ½ inch or 1 inch above the shoulder, so that at the end of the day, you will now recut the outfit, the material to get the shape of the shoulder. So you first of all sew the navy blue first. Even though you must have hemmed it to the gold, you are still going to sew. This sewing helps you to pin it down in a firm position. Now, when you get to this stage, you make sure everything is centralized. You will sew accordingly. So now, after you must have sewn the blue, now you now sew the yellow, right? You now sew the yellow. So you also sew all these things. Take your time to do it. Don't be in a haste. That's the only way you can achieve a perfect finishing, a perfect closure. Make sure you sew tip to tip of this. You must learn how to sew at the tip of your fabric. Then tuck in any threads coming out. This is how you sew all components of the outfit to make sure it's properly attached on the fabric. So after you must have sewn this, you can now cut off your armhole, the armhole trimming. I have finished sewing this now. You can now trim off the armhole section of this. You can now trim it off in this form. And then slam the shoulder from the original outfit you have cut already. So now you have done this now, this is how it will come out to be, right? So yours should as well be in this shape and form. This is how it is. Right, so now I'm fixing the center design. So I am holding it, make sure it's centralized. Then hold at the center this way. Then hold this one on top this way. You take your time to do this, right? Any method that can work for you better, you can do it. But this is the way I am doing mine. You can as well adopt this method. So I'm making sure it's centralized. Then I'm sewing this now. So you make sure you sew tip to tip, right? That's the beauty of it, tip to tip. And make sure your hands be straight enough. Then on coming to the down part, you also attach the one beneath. Make sure you fold into 2 equal parts, get the midpoint, and then attach it under this way. That's the essence of folding. All your foldings must be done on your cutting section, on your cutting table. All foldings must be done on the cutting table. That's the only way you can enjoy your sewing. So you take your time to sew all through this way. Right? Sew all through this way. So I'll also show you as I progress. Alright, so now for the center design, see how I'm doing it. You take your time to go all through, right? Take your time to go around all through. Make sure you sew in a very neat, the best form you can. Take your time to go all through. Now you sew and end up here. Then you now start the center of the second line. The second sewing. Start from here. Make sure your sewing is tip to tip. Right? Tip to tip. Start from here. Then you make sure you end it up properly. So you take your time, arrange this. So that's for the center design. So in creative spot designs, it's something you do with patience, right? There were a lot of hemming and gluing and foldings. You must undergo those procedures before you arrive or you go to the machine to sew. There is no shortcut to it, to this. So you cut your threads as shown. Cut your threads as shown. Now the next thing you do now is to insert or place this across this way, right? So you also sew along the lines. So I will also sew and show you the results. Alright, so as you can see, I have finished attaching everything. I have sewn, right? Look at how the sewing came out. So you must make sure yours is neater than this, please. Very important, right? This is for teaching purposes, so you should make sure you sew yours very well. So look at how I sewed this place. I cut out this point and then sewed down. So here was left unsewn. So you must make sure yours is neater than this. So this is how it is. So why ironing now? Iron from the back. Iron from the back. So now this is how, if you want to iron from the back so that it will not burn the outfit. Iron from behind. Both ends, right? Iron from the back. So this is how the design is achieved. So I pray this video will help you to do yours and then come out with a better result. Thank you guys for watching.